Hi, I thought that today I'd talk about some of the things I'm excited for in Pokemon's future since there's so much negativity out in the world. The first thing is for the Switch releases of Fire Red and Leaf Green to become compatible with Pokemon Home. I am doing a Professor Oak's challenge, and because of all the grinding I have to do for that, I have found a shiny Caterpie. I'm not done yet, so there's a possibility that I will find more shinies in the future, and I'd love to add those to my shiny collection in Pokemon Home. One day I want to have a full living dex of shinies in Pokemon Home, so ones that I find with those old, like, 1 in 8,190 whatever odds, like, those are super special to me because they're so rare. The next thing I'm excited for is hopefully we get more GBA releases for the Switch. I am currently living abroad and I had limited packing space. I did not bring my DS or any of my DS or GBA games. I have a DS Lite, so I have the port. And I would love to get to play through Hoenn again. I've never played through Emerald, so I would love it if Emerald released for the Switch and I got to play Emerald for the first time. I've only ever played Ruby for Hoenn. So that would be fun. And then the next stuff that I'm excited for in Pokemon is Gen 10. I'm excited to see what the final forms of the starters will look like. This is, as a group, my favorite set of base form starters in many, many generations. I think, let's see, so I like all three of them this time. Last time I liked, more than one. I think Kalos, I liked Fennekin and Froakie. Not as much Chespin. But, yeah, like, other than that, like, maybe there's been one base form that I've gotten attached to. Some gens, I haven't really gotten attached to any, Galar, first time I ever ditched a starter and didn't complete the game with it. So, since I like all three of the Winds and Waves starters, I'm really excited to see what they do with the final forms, and hopefully, when the games come out, I'll want to try them all. I'm also excited to see how they design the region and the different biomes. Like I said earlier, I'm living abroad. I'm actually living in Thailand right now, teaching English. And since this Winds and Waves region is based on Southeast Asia, I'm really curious to see how they'll take the inspiration there. I've heard, like, Indonesia pop up a lot as one of the main inspiration countries. But I think there's a lot of unique architecture around here. And, the way you'll just walk down a street full of, houses, normal residential stuff, and then you'll just come across this really ornate temple. I'm interested to see how they'll, take inspiration from the architecture. For Scarlet and Violet and for Sword and Shield, they really seem to take a lot of the local design and architecture cues from Spain and Britain, where those regions were based on, so I'm curious to see how they'll do that for Winds and Waves. Yeah. And then there's also, like, a good amount of religious diversity amongst Southeast Asia. Like, in Thailand, there's a lot of Buddhism and, spirit houses where they try to attract good spirits. I know the Philippines, it's a more heavily Christian area. Malaysia is more heavily Muslim. And I think Vietnam has more, like, of those folk religions. So I'm curious how they'll maybe use that to inspire the mythicals and legendaries in Gen 10. I think that could be something really interesting, you know? In Gen 4, they started bringing in the real gods, and yeah, so I want to see how that kind of diversity will influence the legends and myths of the region. So that is a few of the things that I'm excited for in Pokemon's future, especially their near future. Yeah, thanks for listening. Have a nice day.